My parents gave my sister a car for her 16th birthday, a brand new Honda. For mine, they gave me a bus pass. It builds character, my mom said. Grandma overheard, said nothing. On my 18th birthday, a towing company pulled into our driveway. The driver looked at me. "Are you Audrey?" He handed me the keys and pointed to what was on the back of the truck. Mom dropped her coffee. She didn't just spill it. The mug slipped from her hand, shattered across the driveway, and hot coffee splashed over the concrete. Sitting on the flatbed was a fully restored 1969 Ford Mustang Fastback, candy apple red, chrome gleaming in the morning sun. The kind of car people stop traffic to stare at. My dad blinked several times. There has to be some mistake. The driver checked his paperwork. "No mistake, sir. Audrey Collins? I'm Audrey." He smiled and handed me a small velvet pouch with 2 keys inside. "Congratulations. This vehicle was left in our care until your 18th birthday. It's been prepaid for storage, maintenance, insurance, and delivery." My mother suddenly found her voice. "Who paid for this?" The driver shrugged. "Mrs. Eleanor Brooks." I froze. Grandma. My grandmother, who had quietly watched my parents favor my sister for years without saying a word. She had passed away 6 months earlier. The driver handed me one more thing, a handwritten letter. "She asked that you read this after receiving the car." I unfolded the letter with shaking hands. "My sweet Audrey, people often confuse fairness with love. Your parents gave your sister everything she wanted. I wanted to give you something they could never take away. A reminder that someone always saw your worth. This Mustang belonged to your grandfather. We restored it together before he died. He always said it should go to the grandchild who earned things instead of expecting them. Happy 18th birthday. Love always, Grandma." By the time I finished reading, my mother was crying, not because she was touched, because she recognized the car. Grandpa had refused to sell it for decades. Collectors had offered more than $180,000 for it. She turned toward Dad. She never told us. Grandma hadn't forgotten. She had simply stayed quiet until the time was right. Growing up, the difference between my sister Haley and me couldn't have been more obvious. Haley wanted designer clothes. She got them. I wanted new sneakers after mine split open. Mom handed me duct tape. They're still wearable. When Haley turned 16, my parents surprised her with a brand new Honda Civic decorated with a giant red bow. Neighbors applauded. Pictures filled Facebook. When I asked whether I'd get a car someday, Dad laughed. "You've got perfectly good legs." Grandma watched from the porch. She didn't argue. She simply looked at me with sad eyes. At the time, I thought she agreed with them. I couldn't have been more wrong. Grandma and Grandpa had always been different. They believed effort mattered more than appearances. Every Saturday, I'd spend the day at their house. Grandpa taught me how to change oil, how to rebuild an engine, how to drive a manual transmission before I even had a learner's permit. One afternoon, he pulled an old dusty tarp off a rusted Mustang sitting in the back of his garage. One day, he smiled. "This beauty will belong to someone who respects hard work." I thought he was dreaming. The car barely ran. We spent hundreds of weekends restoring it together, replacing panels, rebuilding the engine, polishing every piece of chrome. I loved every minute of it. After Grandpa passed away, the Mustang disappeared. Dad told me Grandma had probably sold it. She simply smiled whenever I asked. Now I knew why. The Mustang wasn't the biggest surprise. The next morning, Grandma's attorney called. "There's another part of your grandmother's estate you need to discuss." I arrived expecting paperwork. Instead, he slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a trust. Grandma had quietly invested money for nearly 20 years. Every birthday, instead of buying expensive presents, she'd purchased shares in blue-chip companies. The trust had grown to just over $640,000. I stared at the number. "There must be a mistake." "There isn't," the attorney replied. "Your grandmother believed actions speak louder than words. There was only one condition. The money couldn't be touched until I graduated college or started a business."